So last time I was here, I talked about my technique I developed for painting on people that makes them look like two-dimensional paintings. The illusion works from every possible angle. And last time I talked all about how I came up with this idea. This time, I don't have enough time for that, so ask me afterwards. What I'm going to talk about is how inspired I was last time I came to a gathering for Gardner, and how all these little conversations I had here and there I've now find feeding into my work in exciting ways. So 2 years ago, I had a conversation with someone about dazzle camouflage. During World War I, military ships were painted with these crazy patterns, and it wasn't to make them invisible, but it was to cause incredible misdirection. You couldn't tell how fast the ship was going, what direction it was in, how large it was. And I thought, how can I apply this principle of illusion to my work? So during my show in New York, I created a dazzle camouflage-inspired piece where people were able to don these invisibility cloaks of sorts. It's fun in black and white, even crazier in color. And so you'll notice the woman standing in there having her photo taken, but do you notice the man who's taking her photo? He's literally invisible from here up. And everyone got in the fun, including this really cute dog who's named Einstein. Another conversation I had with someone was about the Necker cube. It's an ambiguous two-dimensional drawing of a cube where you can't tell what's the front and what's the back. And I wanted to figure out how could I create my own version of a Necker cube where it can flip back and forth between the front side and the back side. I played with painting versions of it in colored paint, and then I found when I added colorful light to it, it appeared to animate and swap back and forth the front and the back. And I did a bunch of other little samples because I was having a lot of fun with that. I have turned my house into a fun house, and I last time gave an open invitation to anyone here to come to LA and come to the fun house. Offer still stands. This is Henry Segerman, who is a G4G regular, and since coming to the fun house, we started doing all sorts of interesting collaborations. One of them was painting the floor of my studio to be a giant anamorphic drawing. We used a spherical video that we put in the center of the floor and drew lines all around it to converge at that point in the center. When you stretch out the image, it appears like all of the lines are parallel. So if you look in the top corner, you can see what that actually looks like through the eye of a normal camera. And in the foreground, that's what a spherical camera sees. Now, I also spoke last time about Braille palindromes and my quest to find words that in Braille spell something forwards and backwards. And I was asked at G4G, is it possible to play the game of life with Braille? And I'll admit that I had actually never heard of the game of life before I came to G4G. And now I'm proud to say that I have played my first game, and I used Braille. This spells out John Horton Conway, and then we play the game. This is what we get. I'm also really happy that I'm able to include the game of life somehow into a presentation about my artwork. So thank you, G4G. Now, there's been some talk over the past couple days about self-reference, meta-logic, and that's a theme that I bring a lot into my body of work. So in this piece, it is a painting of a woman on a wall. She's painted in my style, completely in 3D. And then when we dive in deeper, we see that she is a painting on the wall of a gallery looking at other paintings on the wall of a gallery. So it's a painting within a painting, viewing art, other paintings surrounding her. All right, and then this last piece I'm going to show you, it's a collaboration with Grandmaster World Memory Champion Ed Cook. I knew I wanted to paint him, but I didn't know what to do with someone who is such a colorful personality. I thought maybe I'll paint him as a Mad Hatter. I wasn't sure. And so I decided that I would sit him down, put a camera on him, and just have him talk and see what it inspired for the painting. And then I realized that he was saying all these marvelous things that what if I just make a painting that illustrates what it's like to be inside Ed Cook's mind? So this is just a 45-second excerpt from what is a much longer film that I'm putting together from this project, and this will be my last thing that I'm going to show.
So, in the space of numbers, 1 is next to 2, is next to 3, is next to 4, is next to 5. But in space, there are all sorts of portals and jumps and discontinuities and complex relations in what is next to what. So, you take the game, for instance, chutes and ladders. If you kind of consider which parts of the board are next to each other, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are next to each other, but actually 17 is next to 4, but only in one direction. And you jump up to a completely different part of the space, and then you keep on going, and then you hit a chute, and you disappear down into another part of space. So this is examples of how you can get kind of complicated patterns of what is next to what.
So thank you very much.